Right. I think it's after 12, so I think I wish you a good afternoon. What I want to do is to tell you about an exciting project of 3 demonstrator houses that are at pre-ignition stage. Now, I learnt this phrase yesterday and I rather like it, and it's accurate, but it's actually ironic because I'm so excited about this I could spontaneously combust, so I shall attempt not to do so. But taking a cue from the inspirational talk by Jackie Marshall Cyrus yesterday, I think I need to tell you why I'm doing this. I've been researching on older people's housing issues, often with older people and on behalf of older people, for about 16 years. And to be frank, I could be doing that for another 16 years when I will be 77 and probably still working. But, I am talked out on this issue. I am now embracing the Elvis Presley philosophy, which says that what we need is a little less talk and a little more action. So I think, right, let's just do it. And again, there was a very nice quote yesterday with somebody saying, you don't have to get it right, you just have to make a start. And I thought, yes, let's just have a little bit of courage and just go for it. So, what I'm trying, Newcastle is a city that signed up to the Dublin Declaration in 2011, so it has set itself a mission to be an age-friendly city. But to be frank, progress is patchy, and some things work quite well, and others you think, well, can't see a lot of change there. So let's try and give a bit of oomph to this. So, just after New Year, I brought together next. Nope. Where am I? Next. Press the green button. Clever, yes. Right. You got to keep it simple. I'm not technologically savvy. I brought together a group of people in what you might call the quadruple helix model, which you may be familiar with. So, with some colleagues from the university, people who are sector straddlers and people who can splice different stakeholders together. I also brought some representatives of the local authority. I brought some people from the Elders Council, Quality of Life Partnership, and people from business, chief executive of a local housing association, a senior architect from a well-respected practice, people from Sustainable England, and people from the Zero Carbon Trust. So we came together to challenge ourselves to think, how do we respond in housing terms to the 3 challenges of our time? One is about demographic change, specifically the shift to an aging population. How do we embrace digital innovation in the home in a way that supports our well-being throughout our life, but yet doesn't make our home look like something a bit hospitally, and you think, somehow we've lost this idea of home. It's just been eroded in this. And also, how do we contribute to the idea of zero or low carbon? And it seems to me we're living in an increasingly complex world, so what we need to do is not offer one facet solutions. We need to try and embrace some holistic solutions that speak to the multiplicity of agendas. So, what I'm trying to do is to create a brief, and believing in democratization, believing in the public as co-creators. What I'm wanting to do is to hold a public-facing exhibition which will have films and gadgetry and stuff and workshops, and draw in school children and families and architecture students and a whole load of people. So, and also look for new ways to broaden out. So we get in more voices and new voices, not just the usual suspect, to get people excited about housing. Because it seems to me, if we look at the automobile, there's been a lot of change there. A lot of talk about the driverless car. And we're getting there by stealth anyway, aren't we? Sat-nav and assisted braking and something that doesn't let you, you're just a flawed human. You can't park your own car. I'll do it for you. We're getting there by stealth. But our housing is just stuck. So how do we actually get people excited about housing? Because it seems to me there are two ways to get something done. One is to get a demand-led paradigm shift, which is a smart way of saying we all take our torches and go to the barricades and say, oh, for God's sake, let's do something better than this. You know, why are we settling for this? Well, let's get people excited to start demanding that. And the other, of course, is to get a developer to say, yeah, okay, let's take a calculated risk and just go for it. So, one of the big points about this is not about housing for old people. And as someone who's 61, you think, yes, where am I? I can't talk about older people. You think I'm talking about me, not future, now. This is not housing for older people. If you want, it is a modern, sophisticated, forward-looking version of lifetime homes. I think you'll be familiar with lifetime homes, which was the architect Edwin Trotter's idea for Joseph Rowntree Foundation. It was about the way your dwelling can physically shift around your changing family and around your own physical needs. Well, let's take some of those principles, but let's think also about moving into digital support. And I was very much taken by Kathy's talk yesterday about the Hob Angel. Now, that isn't something just for older people. I mean, I don't know about you, I've never had a chip pan fire because I've never had a chip pan. But I have quite frequently put the cauliflower on a low gas and then gone to do some emails and then thought, what is that smell? And come back to incinerated cauliflower and reduce the life of a pan. Anybody not done that? And cauliflower is particularly, yes, you're living it for weeks and you think, anybody can slip. A student of mine slipped on a glossy magazine in November and broke her ankle in 3 places. Has anybody done that? Slipped on something glossy? This is not about old age, it's called being a human, and that's all right with me, and it should be all right with the rest of us. We all need the Hob Angel. We all need the soft bathrooms that you don't break your hip. The consequences are worse when you're 80, but we can all do it. So, we also want our house to be low energy and to be energy generating. Now, what of course is going to make our housing different is that housing is meant to be lived in. It's not one of these Barbie dolls that you buy and you keep in a box as an investment. You're meant actually to play with it. You're meant to live in a house. You're meant to make it into a home. Now, 3 dwellings is not a community, so I don't think you can rent these out or sell them on a permanent basis. But what we can do is rent them to city visitors or people to our science park on maybe short-term lets. People, I was going to say, coming to the match, but I'm in sackcloth and ashes today. Think, oh, I didn't bring black, or would have been wearing it. People coming to Newcastle to do something can stay in a future home and give feedback on this. And there'll be embedded systems technologies that will speak to our smart data centres, and it will be a continuous learning loop. And the other thing is, there's going to be 3. Demonstrators usually sit as singletons on university campuses and they're climbed over by researchers. And that's fabulous. That has a role. But your housing needs to be a home. Let's have it commented on by ordinary people. You know, the cross-section of citizenry to think, yeah, I could live here. I'd like one like that. I could hang my curtains up and make this a home. And there is going to be, on the science park that I'm proposing this, there is going to be 1,000 units of housing. This is in addition to university buildings and high-tech industry. Now, wouldn't it be fabulous, and dream no small dreams, if we actually get to inform the whole of that development? And then, the cherry on my gluten-free cupcake would be that we could look at the elements of these dwellings, bearing in mind what Sue Adams was saying yesterday, and think, right, what are these elements that we could retrofit into social housing? What are the elements that owner-occupiers could take and retrofit into their dwellings? Because most of us will not have the luxury of living in new build. Thank you for your attention.